The cradle of European civilization has become the graveyard of so many assumptions about Europe. With the vote results still ringing in their ears, Athenians were at it again today, stoically queuing for their €60 dollops of cash. For now, this demeaning reality remains unchanged, despite last night's extraordinary result. Hellas, Greece, they shouted, high on the dignity of defiance. The No campaign made history by thumbing their nose at the creditor institutions. This was not a vote against Europe, but a knees-up against austerity imposed from outside. Greece, the patient, was saying enough to its draconian doctor and enjoying it a lot. This morning we went to the offices of a small and ideologically committed journal. Yes, their filing system needs updating, but their left-wing politics have been dusted off by this crisis.
This is the amazing thing. After a week of closed banks, after a week of a complete propaganda of terror by the mainstream media, after a week where pensioners were standing in queues for hours to get their pensions and all that, and after these images have gone all around the world, the people had the courage and said a loud, proud, strong no, and no to austerity, and no that will give the power to the Greek government to go to back to the negotiating table with a strong mandate to say no to austerity. We respect your numbers, but we have 11 million human lives.
But do you think that Angela Merkel will respect the decision, and Jean-Claude Juncker and the IMF? I mean, will the bankers respect your decision?
Well, if they respect democracy and the core values of the European Union, if they still dream of European integration, then they better respect it. I don't think that they would like to ruin Europe, because if Greece is kicked out, Greece will not be the only one.
So you're still trying to blackmail them, in a sense?
We're not blackmailing, we're being blackmailed.
This morning, Berlin and Brussels woke up to Greek defiance. Tomorrow, Greeks may well wake up to more misery. In Psychiko, a neighbourhood where they call a spade, we found one solitary yes poster and plenty of well-heeled residents keeping their noses in their lattes. 80% of people here voted to accept the creditors' demands, hoping that this would end Greece's experiment with left-wing populism. Alas, on politics they got it wrong, but when it comes to cold, hard economics, they may still be right. Behind you there's an ATM queue. There are many in the city. How quickly will those ATM machines run out of money if the European Central Bank doesn't pump more money into the Greek banking system?
It's a matter of hours.
Hours?
Hours, exactly. As long as there is an agreement with ECB, we can have a bit additional banknotes. But at the moment, we don't have this agreement in place.
And yet Prime Minister Tsipras has a spring in his step. Buffed up by his mandate, he intends to restart talks with the creditors in Brussels tomorrow. One person missing from his side is his abrasive finance minister Varoufakis, thrown under the bus today, perhaps as a sop to the creditors. Greek voters have had their say, but then German, Spanish or Finnish ones will want the same. That's the problem with Europe, too much of other people's democracy. On a rooftop with panoramic views, it's left to Stefania, the Cambridge graduate, to sum it all up.
For me, the real question here is whether we believe in a Europe based on its funding principles or its founding principles.
And what's the answer?
Well, it seems like the Greek people gave priority to the founding principle, which is unity in diversity, which is about synthesis, not black and white, which is about dialogue.
But in Brussels and Berlin, they're still going on about the funding principles of the euro. And it's on the funding principles that Greece still offends.
Of course, and it's completely understandable because they too are democratically elected governments and they too have the right for their own truth and own interests.
Athens, the laboratory chamber of Europe's ancient past and now its future.